The GOAT died, gentlemen. Chuck Norris has passed away. And so we're going to open this up and talking about Chuck Norris. Floor is open. Talk about what Chuck Norris meant to us because I think he really did touch a big generation of people. Because, for instance, for me, I can remember all the Chuck Norris jokes. Well, they weren't jokes; they were real life. And then
Real life.
also, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
they
then
were Chuck
also,
Norris facts.
yeah, facts. That's how you even had to look it up, or he would roundhouse your ass. But also, like for me, my grandma, bro, every single day for what I can remember, Walker Texas Ranger was on every single night. So, how did Chuck Norris impact you? What do you think of his passing? You have any Chuck Norris facts for us on the spot?
I mean, I would suffice it to say that Chuck Norris didn't die. He just decided to leave. Okay. I think anything and everything that they ran the ads from Dos Equis on the most interesting man in the world, Chuck Norris did it. So I mean, all the jokes, Walker Texas Ranger, you know, the
To
Bruce Lee
help you
movie. I can't.
to help you from getting roundhouse, remember the Chuck Norris facts, not jokes.
Yeah, my bad. The Chuck Norris isms on everything that he
There you
accomplished in
go.
his life. I can't think of the title of the movie right now where he fought Bruce Lee. Really, Chuck Norris just wanted to fight Bruce Lee again, so he decided to leave. If you
Facts. He was
think
tired.
think of it that way,
He was
he
bored
was
with
tired.
all these mortals just can't do it for me, bro.
Bro, I saw something where he like hiked a 10,000 foot mountain like 4 days before he decided to leave. I'm not gonna say he died. He decided to, yeah, like a 10,000 foot mountain and was like posting on Instagram about it.
Yeah,
I mean, he was working out like regular, like fucking moving weight, Walker Texas Ranger, just everything. I remember Kilgore had a board of Chuck Norrisisms in his house.
facts. It's probably still
And
alive. It may
it's
still,
probably
maybe he
still
has
up
it
there.
tucked away in a man cave somewhere. You know how you do when you get older, but
Yeah,
it lives. It's there.
the impact is
Cameron,
is
you
crazy.
you brought something up in the text message group. What Chuck Norris, dodgeball, who made the
Oh
final
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Who
decision?
made
yeah,
the
man.
call?
Chuck
Who
Norris
made
is
the
goaded,
call?
man. He
Yeah.
he changed the course of dodgeball history single handedly. I
He did.
mean, average Joe's has everything to owe Chuck Norris and his family.
Yeah,
They're tore up right
exactly,
now.
man.
They're tore up.
Tore up, yep.
And
I
yeah,
remember like I'm kind of like you, Marlon. Like my dad was, man, when I was growing up, it was one of five things was on daily. It was either NASCAR, it was football, it was wrestling, it was Chips, the TV show, or Walker Texas Ranger every single day. And like
Yeah,
y'all know, back then football was only on
Monday,
Sunday,
Sunday,
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, they didn't
yeah.
even have Thursday back then. And then NASCAR is only a Sunday thing. So if it wasn't Sunday, then it was I mean, you had three options. And I remember Chuck Norris facts being the first like meme, like
Mm,
trend, like the first
Viral
trend I
thing.
remember. I
yep.
Yeah.
remember, yeah, bro, when you couldn't go through school without hearing at least 150 facts. Like
Easily. And
that shit was,
it jumped on like tough because I remember being maybe like an eighth grader or a freshman. And I remember watching Tweet and Kilgore just spout off a bunch of facts and people would get mad and be like, bro, he cannot beat Bruce Lee. And they would want like as they would say it, they would pop the one that would be like Bruce Lee beat Chuck Norris and blah blah blah. And then he was awakened from a swift roundhouse kick to the face, and people would get so mad. But like that trend took, and maybe that was before social media blew up as big as it did. But it was
yeah.
still one of those things that like even if you went to the next town over or another state over or something like that, you could find kids your age talking about Chuck Norris. So it was a very worldwide trend before trending was cool, really.
If
Hmm.
we don't have Walker Texas Ranger the show, Ricky Bobby doesn't name his sons Walker and
Walker and
Texas Ranger,
Texas Ranger.
There you go.
or TR
Man.
as they like to call
As we like to call him for short. Did you know that he fought? There's a scene of him fighting Sting. on a show or a movie. I can't remember. It may have been Walker Texas Ranger. And Sting just didn't have mask on, so he was going by Steve Borden or whatever. He even hit
Uh,
Chuck Norris with the Scorpion Death Drop, and Chuck hopped back up like, "Pff,
let's get the fuck out of here.
I'm WCW World Heavyweight Champion. What the fuck are you talking about?"
I think it's only fair if we do a couple Chuck Norris facts that were our favorites. Now that we're on the topic, we've been joking about a couple of them, but I know we all have our favorites. So somebody start, and then we can
You
just
put
go
me
from
on the
there.
spot. I wasn't prepped for it because my guy, it's been a while.
Look, one
Mine,
of my
mine.
favorites.
Oh, go ahead.
Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups; he pushes the earth down.
Uh, nah,
Chuck Norris doesn't jump in the water gets
water.
Chuck Norris.
There's a lot.
If it looks if it looks like steak, smells like steak, tastes like steak, and Chuck Norris says it's apple juice, you better shut the fuck up and drink your apple juice.
There was one that was like, if you what? Oh my God! If you spell Chuck Norris's name wrong in Google, you have 5 seconds to fix it before he roundhouses you. Uh, there's a ton. I even seen people create it, like the what you said at the beginning, where it was like he didn't die. He was ready to move on, or he was tired of no challenges here, and he wanted to
Yeah,
go test his might
in
elsewhere.
heaven.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Maybe he wanted
somebody,
maybe he wanted to make a maybe he wanted to make an
Bro.
agreement with God and see if he could run one on the ones with Chris Benoit.
even Instagram said like the news broke, and on the headline somebody commented and said, "Has somebody told Chuck Norris this?"
Man, that's a hard conversation. How you go up to him and tell him like, "Hey, Chuck," or like imagine the people that if you're a doctor and it's like,
It's fucking Chuck Norris, man. I can't. You know that doctor knew about the Chuck Norris facts too.
oh, absolutely, and he probably stood there for a minute and was like, "I'm
Is there
afraid to
anything
even
that we can
touch
do?
him, or I'm afraid to even believe this because if I do."
I'm
I
gonna
feel like
get
that shit
nervous.
just happens so fast.
Yeah,
Like I got
Yeah,
a push notification the night before that he was put in the like he was like rushed to the hospital for a medical emergency,
hmm
and then like in the middle of the night he was dead. And I was like, oh
yeah, it happened fast, and
yeah,
I mean, because he was tired. He was like, "Hey, bro, let's go. I'm tired of this. Me and Bruce ain't ran the ones. Michael J. White ain't doing it for me. Jackie Chan is old now. He'll be there too, but all have been training and waiting for him."
bro. I just looked one up and said Chuck Norris will be giving the eulogy at his own funeral.
Facts, bro, and all that stuff. It sounds like a fact to me. I don't. I'm not finna question none of it. I can guarantee you, my grandma was at the pearly gates, like, "Hey, I've been missing Walker Texas Ranger.
Bro,
I need you to."
there's another one that said when Chuck Norris got to heaven, he said to God, "Hey, you're in my seat."
Damn, damn.
Oh my god, this
uh,
shit's killing me,
It's a
man. I
trend,
know we
man.
could go on for forever
I was
about
gonna
it.
say,
They're just too funny.
it is. We old. We real old. We real old. But gentlemen, I wanted to start the first topic today because football is like in the NFL, stuff is still happening, obviously, right? We have free agency still open and draft is
uh,
coming up. But with the Vikings having JJ McCarthy and Kyler Murray, what are you supposed to do? What do you think they should do? And I mean, I'll go first, but honestly, if I'm them, I make it a true quarterback competition. I don't want them to. I don't want them to do. I don't want them to give Kyler the start. I want them to truly open up the position to a battle because if you just give it to Kyler, JJ is going to check out, and maybe you need JJ to check out, but you did spend a first round pick on him. So instead of doing what the Steelers did with Kenny Pickett, which is bring in Russ and say like, "Hey, Russ is going to be the starter. There's nothing you can do." At least open it up to a competition because at that point, Russ was a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He had went to two. As good as I think Kyler's going to play under Minnesota, I think you at least owe it to JJ McCarthy for spending a first round pick on him to give him the opportunity. But I still expect Kyler to win it. But I was just curious what y'all thought about it. But go ahead, Kim. Oh yeah, I muted your ass. My fault.
Yeah, I
He's
didn't
laughing
appreciate
too
that.
much.
Yeah, eat a dick.
My bad.
That's what
I
you were
was
doing.
going through Chuck Norris facts. I forgot how funny some of the damn things are. Um, in regards to uh, um, the Kyler situation, I do think it should be an open competition. Um, I think anybody that has an incumbent starter and then brings in a guy that wasn't just a bona fide, star wherever they came from, I think it'd be criminal to just immediately name them the starter. However, I also think um, even though you spent a first round pick on JJ McCarthy, I remember sitting around at the draft wondering what the hell they're doing because I just didn't think JJ McCarthy was that good. So I thought they reached on him anyways. Um, but I think Kyler's a much better quarterback. I think Kyler's going to win the job. Um, but yeah, I think it's Kyler's to lose, but I do think they'll have some kind of, even if it's phony, some kind of competition.
Uh,
Well, um, to sum it up lightly, I don't think. I mean, yeah, you can open it up for a competition, but I think Kyler is going to win it. Kyler is proven to be a better passer. It's really just his health, and you got an all-time talent at receiver and a really good number two receiver, and they're going to want the ball. And JJ wasn't doing that for him last year, so I think it's going to be shit or get off the pot for him. But I think Kyler's going to win the job. I mean, I think he's a better quarterback. I mean, yes, he's been in the league longer, but you've had enough of a sample from JJ McCarthy, especially getting drafted, getting injured, sitting behind Sam Darnold, knowing the offense, understanding it for an entire year basically. And then when you do get the start, you're competitive, you're a talented quarterback, but the the flip side of that is they're not getting the results that they need out of you. They have a solid defense and you have too much talent on the offensive side of the ball and you're not producing. So, yes, there will be a competition, but I think that's kind of that every head coach needs to say that. So, but that job is Kyler's to lose, and it would take honestly, it would take a lot for him to actually lose it.
I agree. Floor is open, by the way, but so it'll lead me to this question then. Do you think that teams are so hungry to win now because they've seen teams pop up and put a Super Bowl up on the blip? You know what I'm saying? We are in the Chiefs quote unquote dynasty, or we were. Teams are so hungry to take that now that they're willing to make quick decisions like that they wouldn't have made back in the day whenever it comes to quarterbacks. Because JJ did get a season. He missed some time due to injury. He probably started what, 12 games, 12, 13 games. In the past, that wouldn't have been enough to make a decision on a quarterback that you spent the first round pick on. So it's more of like, do you give him an opportunity to grow? Is this even bringing Kyler in one of those like the world thinks that Kyler is going to win the competition? We believe in JJ McCarthy. Or is it, as Cameron said, like, why the fuck did y'all pick him in the first round to begin with? Because nobody thought he was really good, anyways.
I
Yeah, I think
I
he got a
think
lot of hype just from winning the Natty as well. I think that kind of played into it. And then you look at that class of quarterbacks that were drafted the same year as him, and he's the next best quarterback out of that draft overall. I mean, everybody else got picked by the time Minnesota got to
But did
him,
he
right?
did he go before Bo? I can't
Let me.
remember because again,
I
that
don't
class
know,
was phenomenal. I just can't remember. I think Penix went. Let me see. You keep going, and I'll look it up.
but I mean, Cameron, I'll let you go. But I think that was one of the things. It's like out of that class of quarterbacks, like we knew Caleb was going to go one, and then you knew Penix was going to go somewhere, but they weren't sure where he was going to go. And JJ just came off of winning a national championship.
Got it. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah,
So
JJ was picked 2 picks before Bo Nix.
okay, And that was
So
like what, mid first round?
JJ went 10 and Bo went
Okay.
12. So it went Caleb, Jaden, Drake, and then Marvin Harrison Jr., Joe Alt, Malik Neighbors, JC Latham. Penix went at 8, Rome Badunze, JJ McCarthy. And then the Jets took Olu Fashanu
Mm.
and then Bo Nix. So and then Brock Bowers. Great draft.
And yeah.
But
And
yeah,
you could argue that that Penix pick was weird from Atlanta when they did it. So it probably was Bo probably was going to be the actual next guy up. It's just Atlanta was like Kirk's old. We need some youth. Even
they wanted
though
to stash
Michael
him, I think.
Penix, yeah, Michael Penix is like 25, but I
I
mean,
think they just wanted to stash him
Did
though.
did we know that had Kirk already signed with Atlanta
yeah,
before this draft?
yeah,
Yes. Kirk
yeah.
was already
Kirk
there.
Cousins
Yeah, yeah.
said he wasn't gonna
Okay.
go there if he
Yeah,
knew that
if
they
he
were
knew
gonna
they were
draft
going
a
to draft a
quarterback,
quarterback, because
which
Yeah.
most teams did.
that's why he wanted out of many is because Minnesota told him that they were going to draft a quarterback, and he was like, I don't want to be here. I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want to be the
Gotcha.
guy. And then
Because that
he
was
went
going to be
there.
my other question was I wondered if Minnesota drafted him with the idea of stashing him for a few years and then Kirk bounced and then they got um, Darnold and Darnold had the crazy year he had and so they thought well maybe Darnold will stick around and then he was like
Well, they
out.
they talked. They said too that they wanted to make it a competition, and Donald was like, "Bro, why would I
Yeah.
compete? 13 wins,
I,
bro. Fuck are you talking
I
about?"
just wanted this is no
And
competition.
and I get it too. Like y'all spent a first, and they should have spent that first round anyways. Here's another question on this topic. Do you think winning a national championship or even being on a very good college team hinders quarterbacks when they get to the NFL? Because when they're in college, they get a lot more talent. When they get to the NFL, the gap in talent from team to team isn't there.
The
I
perfect
think it just
example is
depends on
Bryce
the
Young.
I think
Bryce
it
Young is
just
the perfect example.
I feel like it depends on the system. Like if you get a quarterback that's really good managing the game out of Michigan, then they're not going to be set up for the league that we are in today properly, my opinion. If you get a quarterback coming out of LSU with a pro style like air raid, you know, that's more of a like a pro style spread offense. I think they're more set up to transition to the league. Now, I remember Tom saying a couple of years ago that quarterbacks aren't what they were because of the way that the game is played. It doesn't allow quarterbacks to develop, so they're nowhere near as good as they were in the early and mid 2000s. I do agree with that. I just, I think I don't know, the way the offense is played in the NFL now, I don't believe that quarterbacks. I mean, you do have the Joe Burrow, you have the Jaden Daniels that comes out, but like, you're either elite or you're ass. There's no more. I don't feel like there's no more of the mid level like
But
quarterbacks that can.
I agree. I just think it's because we talk. Everyone wants everybody to be elite. And
Yeah,
if you say that somebody's not elite, everyone thinks that I'll put it like Kirk and Dak. I think they're
yeah,
very middle of the pack quarterbacks. They're good. They're good NFL quarterbacks, but they're missing the resume. I think they're talented. They just don't have the resume of in those moments rising as much as a
yeah.
Brady or et cetera. So if they would have that, people would look at him completely different. Quarterback play from Tom, like how they talk about it, I agree, but the rules changed. So
Yeah.
the stuff they're able to get away with, as much as I think it's different and I don't like it as much, it is what it is what it
I
is.
just
But
I remember that when they picked JJ in the draft, I just remember being like, the fuck did he do at Michigan that garners first round attention? Michigan was a run heavy offense that played defense,
so
and he
yes,
was asked to make throws occasionally.
well yes,
Most
but
of the time they were.
on
Go
the
ahead.
flip of that, it's because he won the Natty. And even quarterbacks like Mac
Which is a
Jones or
stupid reason,
there's like
my
Isaiah,
opinion.
you said Bryce. There
Mhm.
are some guys who are able
He's
to win
starting
it.
to develop
Yeah, but
now better
there's
now.
some guys who played in college that played with a bunch of talent, like Joe Burrow, because you could arguably look at it and say, like, obviously Joe Burrow at LSU was able to carve people up because he had Jettas and Jamar Chase. So it's like
Hmm.
but there's usually anomalies. It's like Tom Brady getting picked in the what sixth or seventh round. turning
Yeah.
into what he did, and now everyone uses him as the starting point of every. Well, even though he's a late quarterback, he could blossom into Tom Brady, and it's like he's a one of how many other quarterbacks were taken in the
Well,
seventh round.
well,
It's
and it's like another thing is like I feel like like situations don't do quarterbacks justice. If you take JJ McCarthy and you put him in Pittsburgh or Cleveland, somebody that runs under center, runs a style um, similar to what Michigan did in college, like a lot more under center, a lot more slowed down, maybe one or two route options with a tight end. I mean, it's kind of like Baker. Like Baker, you took Baker out of an air raid, put him in Cleveland, asked him to be under center with two tight ends, and expected him to ball out like he did at OU. And he had the one good season, but it took him getting to Sean McVay where they run a spread, and then to Liam Cohen where they run a spread for Baker to play like a damn MVP.
Here,
Like,
and
go ahead, Marlon.
No,
I
and
have a couple
I
thoughts.
was gonna say, and that kind of leads me back to the original question of like when guys they play on good teams in college, they always are looked at as the better college quarterbacks, which we can transition into the top, was it 50 or 100 quarterbacks from college
50,
football?
yeah.
Yeah. A lot of those guys played at big name universities. When you go to like when you see how many quarterbacks actually turn into the problems in the NFL, most of those guys didn't even get looked at. So when you compare like Baker to Pat, in everybody's eyes, Baker was the clear best, most talented guy. But I think now in the NFL, you can see that Mahomes translates a little bit more. He's more flexible to where if they want to slow the game down and run under center, he can do it. If you need to spread out, he can do it. And because he had to do it at Tech, for Tech to be even relevant as a quarterback analyst, what would you value more? That, like what Pat did, or watching a quarterback in college football put up godly numbers with godly talent?
And there's other people that you assimilate this success not translating to the NFL with, like CJ Stroud is another perfect example. CJ Stroud doesn't have Jackson Smith and Jigba and Garrett Wilson and Emeka Egbuka to throw the ball to, so there's some growing pains within that. Like me mentioning Bryce Young, Bryce Young is starting to play better now. Baker, to me, Baker in the NFL, defenses translate differently versus college defenses. So his accuracy went down. In that division, whenever he went to Cleveland, there were some growing pains. He made some dumb decisions. We always talk about it. But with the top 50 college quarterbacks, you look at them versus the guys that are having great success in the NFL. What's the ratio?
Like at the top of it. So Baker, we can say Baker is having a very good like career now. Like he's a
yeah,
resurgence type.
nice,
Yeah,
solid career.
he's getting his stuff together, and if he can put a resume together, brother, Baker could turn his career around similar to how Matt Stafford did it, right? Like I think that's fine. Cam Newton, good career. He had some really high highs, some really low lows. Vince Young, in and out. Tim Tebow, in and out. Joe Burrow, he got to a Super Bowl. Is he going to Andrew Luck it, or is he going to come back in a sense? He going to help him? Deshaun Cosby, he was good early on with Houston. Kyler. Now Lamar is another guy I think is having a good career, two-time MVP. Marcus Mariota, he's hung around, but he's
Yeah,
more like Colt McCoy.
career
Yeah,
backup.
RG3 was on his way, injury. T Law, he's at the
Yeah, let's go, baby.
position. He's at the position where he can go either way. And it's like it's not until you even get to shit because it may be too early on Jaden Daniels. It may be too early to jump on Bryce Young or CJ. Uh, 26 is Phillip. Hell of a career. He's a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
31 is Russell Wilson. He's below Bo Nix. Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer. 33 is Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Famer. And then you start getting to
I can't
yeah,
believe that Colin Kaepernick made this list
but
because
and see, but that's also what I'm saying though is like no, there's not a lot of guys that are on this top 50 quarterback list of all time that were great college quarterbacks that go to the NFL and translate. And
Yeah.
a lot of it is because of the spots that they're going to, the fits and things like that. But let's just go ahead and pivot and then just let's talk about the top 50 because your
Okay.
boy was
Yeah,
ranting.
because I mean, to be honest with you, like looking at it, not jumping back into the NFL talk, the one thing that you could argue that will help Kyler is if he goes to that type of system with O'Connell
And he
and
is.
sees if he could, if and to see if he could turn his career around. But I agree with the majority of this list. The couple of people that I'm kind of out on, and I think it's a lot to do with like recency bias, is like I think Johnny Manziel should be higher.
Yeah, we can
My
keep the
opinion.
floor. Let just keep the floor open too. Chime in
Yeah,
whenever for this, just
yeah.
But
so we can.
who would you drop?
I wouldn't drop anybody. I would flip. I think personally, I would flip Johnny Manziel and Deshaun Watson because yeah, Deshaun won a natty, but
Yeah.
look at that team. If we're going off of individual success as a college quarterback versus team success at the time that you were in college in that era, what Johnny Manziel did was more impressive as a whole, not only for the hype, but as a whole true freshman winning the Heisman, getting Texas A&M to have success again. I think his career in college meant more than what Deshaun Watson did. Deshaun Watson only started 2 years, just like just like some of these guys, and you got to look at that too. How many years did they start? Baker started 3. Cam Newton arguably started 1 year of college football.
Yeah.
I think a
Vince
I
Young
lot of it's.
started 2.
I think a lot of it
Tebow
though
started
is
4.
Deshaun has the David versus Goliath where he took down that Bama team. I think that's
yeah.
why he's so
On a
high.
pick route. It was a pick
Yeah,
route.
hey, you
I'll
right.
say that's the day I die.
It was a pick route. It was a dirty pick route, but hey,
Yeah.
it is what it
I
is.
Shout out to Colin
man,
Klein on here too, bro.
my
Okay.
my only arguments really honestly are like I think Tebow probably should be number 2 just because of his body of work. I mean,
Yeah. It's hard to judge some of these just because
yeah,
of the amount of time that
Well,
they
it's
were playing
I think if you look at it objectively, the only objective take that I can think to keep Tebow not as high as Cam and Vince is Vince's performance against SC. David and Goliath, and then
yeah.
it was Cam Newton versus the rest of college football, as where
Bro,
Tim
and
Tebow had murderers, gangsters, thugs,
yeah.
rappers.
And I like I don't
holding
argue
that
with
team
Cam
together
Newton
alone
even though he only had the one season because it was literally Cam Newton. Like,
versus everybody.
can anybody name anybody else on that Auburn team?
Nobody on that Auburn team on that offense played in the NFL.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm like. It was Cam Newton. Like, I still remember watching his game against LSU when they were down, and he was just like, "All right, fuck it," and he just started running, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is what we're doing."
funny, and this is how old we are. Uh, me and Isaiah met y'all in Shawnee for the Buffalo Wild Wings, and as we left, because we sped through to get there in halftime, and right before we left, I told Isaiah, if he comes back and wins this game, uh, they're gonna win. Or no, my fault. That was the Bama game. I was like, hey, if they come back and win this game, the Heisman is his. Like, there's nothing they can do to take it. The LSU game, I thought he should have been like already leading because he had that
Yeah,
big ass explosive run where he put his hand down, got back up,
yeah,
and then just. And I was like, yeah, he should win it. But I was like, after the Bama game, there's this should be wrapped up right now. They should have brought the trophy on the field and been like, hey man, you came and
here you
smacked
go.
them. Here you go. Not too many teams beat them, and you were down, and we counted you out, and you came back on the road. On the road. That's a Mo Bamba moment.
I remember like that's why like I don't argue with like Kyler Murray's position because I feel like Kyler Murray had one of the best individual single seasons ever, and OU if they had any kind of defense at all. Because nobody could stop Kyler Murray that year. Like even Texas, the game they lost, OU still put up 40 points. I mean, so but he just had one season.
is there some? Is there
I
some
may
recency
flip. I
bias
may flip
with?
Lamar and Kyler.
Yeah.
just because I again the him Lamar having to do it at Louisville as opposed to
I think Lamar
Oklahoma.
could have won two
I
Heisman's in a
think
He
row.
could have
I
easily.
think I think RG3 is too high. I mean, Trevor won a natty. Colt McCoy. I mean, Colt McCoy was Texas there for a minute.
Colt
A
McCoy was the
long
winningest
time.
quarterback in college football history at one point.
It was what?
He was the winningest quarterback in college football
Yeah.
history at one point.
Honestly, Colt's low as he
I,
is too because he didn't win a natty. If he would have won that natty,
Yeah.
Colt would be so much higher on the list.
Well, and I kind of disagree with when we're starting to get into like like the Jaden Daniels year, the when I saw fucking Rex Grossman and Diego Pavia on the list, I was like, I
Hey,
think that's some recency bias.
hey,
I'm
no,
not
no,
saying
no.
that Diego did not have a great career at Vandy.
That's fine. I want this recency bias to be fixed. While I
What
think
is it?
Fernando Mendoza had a good season, what was
yeah,
different
he
from what
wasn't.
Fernando Mendoza and Jameis? What are we doing? What y'all do? Why y'all
Yeah.
got my boy Jameis this far down? Bro.
Jameis had one of the all-time like efficiency
Hmm.
years the year he won the Heisman. I
Not
have a
only not
question.
only that, his impact meant more. He stayed. He didn't. Fernando
Yeah.
Mendoza with the Cal did okay at Cal and then transferred. I don't know. I don't agree with some when we start to get into the weeds from like maybe 10 and 15 until like the end of the list. Colt Brennan should be higher.
Bro, I was about to say how much higher is Colt Brennan if he doesn't get absolutely destroyed by Georgia in the bowl game? Because
You
Yeah,
he
know,
was Hawaii.
that's seared into our brains of how he
Yeah.
got smashed in that game
But
because
people
I
forget
thought,
how swagged he was,
bro,
bro, and how good he was.
he
yeah.
was before his time. If he would have came
Hmm.
10 years later, Colt Brennan would have been a household name.
Because he was a Heisman finalist that year, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And they were good. There were people were talking about how they should have been in a bigger bowl game playing against better teams, and then Georgia was
Yeah.
like, "Nah,
Now
nah, we're good."
we're gonna smack the shit out of them. And was it the Sugar Bowl, Fiesta Bowl?
It was one of them. I can remember Colt Brennan had started like that game is what kept him out of the first round
Yeah.
because he was a prototypical build. He was big. He had a strong arm. He threw for 1,000,000 yards,
Bro, I
and
just
Yeah.
remember he had the mirrored visor, bro. He was so
yeah,
fucking
Yeah.
cold.
yeah.
Like,
Case Keenum, I think Case Keenum should be on the list. He has a ton of records. Jalen Hurts, I agree with that. It was just a weird, like what he did at Bama. His impact at Bama was not even near what his impact was at OU. So I think Jalen Hurts should be lower. I think he's kind of too high. Um,
I think he so from a talent standpoint, probably, but it's hard to not have him where he's at because of the amount of college football success he had. It looked crazy different, and I think everyone understands that the only reason he's even able to be an NFL starting quarterback is because he went to OU.
mhm.
Um, he's still going to be on the
uh,
list just because of that.
why why is there no and maybe I'm crazy. Jamarcus Russell was pretty damn good in college now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where the fuck
not
is
on the
he at in this
list.
list? Like,
That's why I think
because
there's some recency bias, man. Like Fernando Mendoza, Diego Pavia started for 2 years.
yeah, I just think because
I
he turned Vandy around, he's gonna get a lot of that credit, but not over fucking Jamarcus Russell. That dude was a dog in college.
you know what
He was ass in
I
Oakland,
agree.
but
I agree with Graham Harrell being on the list. What he did at Texas Tech was
mm,
insane.
I even like
There's
Chase Daniel being on it because people
yeah.
forget that he was a dog. There's so many good college
I'm
quarterbacks at one
surprised.
time.
Hmm.
I think the point I was trying to make earlier, and sorry to harp back to it, but like
Hmm.
some of the guys that are going to be high on this list, you got to think the reason they're this high on the list is because they were this high on college lists in real time, which is a good way
Hmm.
to look at it.
Yeah.
Um, even looking at it, I think just like now, when you think of college football quarterbacks going into next year, what's the first name that pops in your head?
Arch Manning.
And do you think that Arch is far and beyond the best quarterback prospect today?
mm,
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
He is a
He
very good one, right?
yeah.
You know that he's going to be able to compete, but there's probably some other guys that are going to be a little bit better, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. Is like when the hype is big on them, they're going to be good players, but there's always the third, fourth, fifth quarterbacks that go in and go to a better spot and just kind of cook.
Yeah.
Lisberger
I
is on the list.
yeah, and there's some names like honestly you could say that Scott Frost should be on the list for what he did at Nebraska.
Nebraska doesn't have a single quarterback, do they? Because
Nope.
there's two quarterbacks I could think of that should be on that list for Nebraska.
Who?
Don't say
Um,
Taylor Martinez. I
no,
That's
see.
not
who I was going to
Martinez.
say. Taylor Martinez is a
No,
goat.
who is after Scott Frost? Um, sorry, I'm drawing a blank. The quarterback when they played Miami in the Natty,
Oh,
because he was pretty
Eric
fucking
Couch,
yeah, he was
Yeah.
pretty
Crouch or
fucking
Couch,
good.
Couch, Couch. Yeah, yeah,
He was pretty
Michael
damn good.
Vick
yeah. He
isn't
could
on
have.
this list,
That's
gentlemen.
also another name that could have been
Chris
on this
Winkie
list.
isn't on this list.
What's his name? Oh my God, Brandon Whedon.
Brandon
Yeah,
Whedon
oh,
is
he was
not on
another
the
one I was
list.
he was another one I was gonna put. If we're talking about putting people on for one fucking season, he was pretty goddamn good in 2011.
Well, and the thing that I don't like with Bo Nix being on the list, his impact was not all time. Even when he was at Auburn to Oregon,
Yeah,
Oregon played with a better team.
that's recency bias.
Didn't fuck it. Yeah, he just didn't fuck up
I mean,
as
I'm
much
looking
as
at
he
this
did at
list
Auburn.
and I'm telling y'all, I watched Bryce Petty with my own eyes for 2 years torch everybody in the Big 12.
Bryce or Brock?
Bryce
Oh, you're talking
Petty,
about from
not Brock
Bryce
Baylor?
Petty.
Petty,
Yeah,
Baylor,
yeah,
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 bro,
yeah.
God, I fucking hated them.
yeah. That's
That whole two
man.
years that
Stay off this recency bias. But let's pivot to the next topic to
Yeah.
keep her pushing, gents. Who has the greatest March Madness tournament Cinderella run?
Give me the University of Northern Iowa with Ali Farouk beating Kansas. Okay, beating Kansas and then winning in the second round and getting to the Sweet 16. That's probably top. I think what George Mason did whenever they were having success, even Butler going to the Natty back to back years with almost zero hype in the first year with Gordon Hayward and I think his name was like Mark Howard or something like that. Crazy run. I mean, you start getting into the weeds about March Madness and top seeds losing to 12 seeds and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's stuff that we witnessed a lot of the times, but bro, the I think when Kansas lost, that was one of the craziest upsets I've ever seen like watching it live. Watching it live as a kid, that was crazy. And then Butler getting back there 2 years in a row like that, that's that's insane to me because everybody always expects Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, those teams to always go on runs. And every time they get upset, it's like the most impactful wins in the tournament. So those are just mine off the top of my head, but y'all go ahead.
Yeah, you gave half the list. Mine's simple. Steph Curry. He didn't even win it. That's to me, that's my GOAT. He a lot of people knew him as just Dell's son, but nobody expected Davidson. And the whole tournament run that he had was just at that point of my early adulthood life, end of high school life and stuff. The only runs that I can remember that are that was his and Jimmer. There's one more, but I'll save it because I'm sure Cameron has it on his list that I would mention. If y'all don't, I'll mention it whenever the floor is open. But go ahead, Cam.
yeah, I got two. First and foremost, Florida Gulf Coast, Lob City U, in 2013. That team being the first 15 seed to ever reach the Sweet 16, that was a fun team to watch. What they did to fucking Georgetown was dumb. Um, and then 2013 Wichita State making their run to the Final Four to me was a a little bit of a Cinderella run. And the next, I mean, that following that was the undefeated year that they had where they ran into Kentucky in the tournament. But that that 2013 run to the Final Four was pretty cool to watch. And we had just met Ben, so I paid a little more attention to Wichita State then. But yeah, those would be my two that I remember.
The one that I was thinking of too was 2011 UConn Kimba.
Yeah, yeah, but the only reason I didn't
Cardiac
mention them was
Kimba.
because they were
There
a
was it an
three
upset?
seed.
Yeah.
I get that.
But that talent, man, they had a lot of
I
NBA
mean,
talent.
I would argue
Hasheem the Beat was
I,
on that team.
I would argue
I mean,
that a couple years later when Shabazz Napier took them, that would be a bigger Cinderella to me because I mean they
Facts.
were I think a 6 or an 8 seed that year.
And I won some money on that bracket. So I'm
Davidson
hyped.
was a good pull. I was going to pull them, but then you said it, which I should have
Damn
known.
right. Yeah.
VCU in 2011 was a pretty damn good run too. That was their like first coming out, and then everybody was like,
Shaka
"Oh my
Smart,
God,
baby.
Shaka Smart!" Yeah,
But he went to Texas and sucked.
bro. Mo
And
Alley Cox played for VCU,
yeah,
tight end,
that's,
Indianapolis Colts.
he's now the fourth string tight end.
Shit anymore. Anytime OU makes a tournament, I consider that a Cinderella run.
I mean,
Loki, I'm curious as to when we'll see the next big Cinderella moment. That it's so easy to sell the tournament. It's so easy whenever there's a Cinderella run, tickets
Yeah.
just start
this
flying off the shelves. Everybody's
magic
like, "I want to go see it."
moment.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean,
Um,
we were really close to seeing one, man. I honestly, Sienna being up by 12, going into half against Duke,
Well,
I
that's how I felt
was
about
looking at,
Howard, man.
Coach K
And then
walked in that
Arkansas went
locker
ahead and
room.
put them away.
They probably called Coach K and was like, "Hey, we need you in here, even though you're not here anymore. But if we lose this game, they're firing everybody." And he was like, "Oh my
bro.
God, what the
I
hell are we
guarantee.
doing?"
Bro,
Uh,
I think
got him on speakerphone.
I think Cam Boozer lost some draft stock in that game because he was playing like a little girl. I'm like, dude, wake up. Golly. I mean, he
Do
ended
you
up
think
having
that
like
the
20 and
hype?
12 or some shit like that, but
Do you think the hype for him is too high?
um I didn't spend a lot of time watching Duke, so I'm trying to be careful, but when I watched that game against Siena, I was more impressed with Caden. Like
Yeah,
Caden
I think.
rose in the moment. And I felt like Cam, I don't know if there was something wrong with him, but he just looked checked out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hype for him has been so much since they walked onto campus. I don't think he's bad or anything like that. I just think sometimes you run into this hype train that just like doesn't end, and it's hard, man. It's just like college football. You want to see their game translate well. I think
Mm,
all the intangibles are there for him, but how good of a shooter is he? How good of a post presence is he? Right now, he's kind of like a swingman, but he's in college basketball. You're a dominant force, and there's a difference whenever you get to
yeah.
the league. So, I mean, but getting back to Cinderella moments,
I could get some like Tyler Hansbrough vibes. Like I remember
Bring him up,
Tyler
man.
Hans.
Tyler Hansbrough. No, for
I
that,
just remember him being a fucking beast
he
in
was
college, and then
he
he got to the
was
pros, and he tried to swell up on Ron
Ron
Artest, and
Artest,
that changed
Meta.
his
yeah.
career
I'm
forever.
sorry, Ron. Sorry, Ron.
Yes,
Sorry about
that's
that.
crazy.
Who
Imagine
hit me?
the imagine the thoughts going through your head whenever somebody just shoves you
That
really hard and you're like, "Nah, don't be a punk. Turn around and stand up for yourself." And you turn around and, "Hey, bro, what's happening?" And it's Ron
bro, that
Artest
is an
looking at you like,
all time video
sorry,
clip.
sorry, man. Sorry.
He
That was
straight up did
a
the, you
Mo
know,
Bamba moment.
"He's
my
that was
bad.
a
Sorry.
Hell
We're talking
yeah.
about moments,
Hell
bro.
yeah.
That
Well, speaking of moments, gentlemen, we're about to, in some months, watch one special talent from the UFC fight. If Alex Pereira wins the UFC heavyweight championship, will he go down as the greatest UFC fighter of all time?
I think he's here for a good time, not a long time. So I can honestly see, because with his age as well, if he wins this belt, he defends it once and wins that, He's retiring. He will be the only person in probably MMA history as a whole to have a title in three different divisions, all within being in MMA in what 6 years total
Yeah.
by the time it's all said and done. That's insane. Just the training, just the power, the ability to stand in the octagon with anybody. And he's been knocked out and he's been hurt. He's been in trouble, but he bounces back every time. There's no question in my mind that he will go down as one of the greatest of all time. And you can argue to say that if this happens, do we really have a discussion between him and John Jones?
Um, I'm I'm hesitant, not because of John Jones. Um, I'm hesitant because of Khabib. I mean, Alex Pereira, like Poaton's only losses were when he was hurt, and then against Izzy, who's one of the greatest middleweights ever. So that's not a bad couple of losses on the resume. But Khabib didn't lose at all and dominated every fucking fight he had. Even the people that have an argument of, well, he didn't fight anybody, for his first 20 fights. Well, even when he fought all these people that, like Poirier and Gaethje and Connor, he dominated those fights. It wasn't competitive at all. So, but god dang, man, Peloton winning winning a belt in three different classes, and one of those classes being heavyweight. Because in my opinion, it's a lot more dangerous to go up classes when you're heavier than when you're lighter. That makes like in the lower classes, I don't feel like it's as dangerous as it is if you start middleweight, go up to heavyweight. To win the strap in three different classes is, dude, that's crazy. And the way he does it, it's not like he gets up there and tries to point win by points. He Every fight he goes in, he's trying to kill a dude. So you're going up classes and banging with heavyweights. It's kind of, to me, that's impressive. I do think if he wins the belt, he's in the conversation, but I think it's with Khabib, not with John Jones. John Jones's resume is tainted to me because of all the issues with like drug tests. Like he'll always be tainted. That's just my opinion.
Couldn't come off mute. So me, I still have John in mind just because of the knowing what was happening going on behind the scenes in the UFC at the time where they were switching over to what is it? No, I forgot. USADA and some of the BS that was happening around the times and what they were allowing fighters to get away with like TRT and stuff and then they just kind of scaled it back. Just him having picograms, I give it a pass just because of it, right? But I do think that John Jones he dominated in a way that we haven't seen anybody dominate up until Habib. I think John had way more names than Habib did, but I think Poatan would definitely be. He has to be in the like the conversation if he wins, especially if he does something like he wins against Cyril Gahn and then he defends it against Tom Aspinall and he sleeps Tom. He at that point is there'd be four names, and it would be John, it would be Demetrius Johnson, it would be Khabib, and it would be Poatan. And it's wild that at this point that's where we're at because this is what the vision for Izzy was. And Poatan was like, "Oh, I beat that mug. I beat him kickboxing. I want to do it." And he came over and he did it. And then the last hot take that I want to give about Poatan in his career and where it's headed, this is the career that Connor was supposed to have. This is
Yeah.
what they envisioned. Floyd offered so much money that he couldn't even step away. And I know he would have ran into or had to run into Khabib at one point, but I don't think it would have been that fast. He may have been able to go up another class, go up to welterweight, see if he could catch Tyron Woodley. They would have sold that fight, especially at the time because they had issues backstage and stuff. And if he was able to starch him, he would have won 3 belts, and then he would have went down, and Khabib would have he would have took him to the deep waters of the ocean and drowned him.
I have one slight argument about Khabib and his all timeness. He is arguably his run is different from a lot of other people's, and I only say that because Khabib had seven. Was it seven total fights in the UFC?
No, I think it was more than that. Hold on.
It might be 13. I can't remember if it was 13 or seven. So like the number of fights that he had in the UFC against those guys, and I know why he retired. And I'm not saying that he's not an all timer. I would argue to say that because he never lost, John's never lost, and I would always put John above him slightly. But Poetan losing, the way that he lost, doing what he's doing, I don't count those losses against him as much.
I don't really count losses against the all-time greats because whenever I'm thinking of the all-time greats, I'm thinking of what height did you get to,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that I think Khabib was able to win a bunch of fights, and he had some great performances. But I do think if he wouldn't have stepped away, there would have been a time where he would have had issues with fights similar to how Poetan did. There would
Mm-hmm.
have been a fighter that maybe he couldn't get down, and then what do they do with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, there, like even the Justin fight, he came out and said Justin's leg kicks affected me, which is why I dove for a leg. Because
Yeah.
and so it's like, okay, now somebody takes your calf out, you can't get them down. Now what? And I think he would have
Yeah.
ran into that. I think he would have then went back to a training camp to the mountains of Dagestan, and then they would have got it right. He would have came back, smish him, and then it would have been similar. But yeah, if he
I
doesn't walk away, I think he eventually runs into something.
I feel like we never got to see Khabib really throw because he was
Because
so
he
dominant
couldn't.
wrestling.
He
No, I
couldn't
think
really
bro did
fight. He
bro,
couldn't really throw, bro.
he pieced up Conor McGregor. Get the fuck out of here. He could
No, he
throw if he
did
wanted.
not. He did
Yes, he
not piece
did.
up Connor, bro.
Bro,
No,
he
he
was
did.
beating Connor's ass on standing up, and then he
He,
just took him down and beat the shit out of him.
but so I get what Isaiah's saying. It from his stand up isn't that nice. It's just
It's
whenever
not
you know how good
it's not
his
clean.
yeah.
But I
He
but
can
I,
he can
but
he can drop you because you have to respect the wrestling, and then
bro,
Yeah.
he put them things on it.
If we're
you
arguing
can't
between
talk
Islam
shit
and him,
about Khabib and his stand up and then in the same breath say, "Oh, well, Justin Gaethje can," because Justin Gaethje just throws fucking chaos. He doesn't
I'm
have any
not.
clean
But
punching
I'm
or
not
kicking.
putting Justin Gaethje up there though.
Okay.
I'm talking about
I'm just saying
right
like,
now. If Islam continues on the trajectory that he's on,
well,
right?
yeah,
Islam, you can argue to say that Islam will have a better career than Khabib by the
agreed.
time it's all said and done.
Agreed. I'm not arguing that. I I I don't know. I just
It's
Unless
like
hard for it's
With John Jones, he had to me like obviously his only loss being Matt Hamill, which honestly you could throw an asterisk next to it
we
now.
are throwing
But
everybody
yeah,
knows there's an asterisk.
hugely.
but
Yeah.
what pisses me off about John Jones is no one, he should have had two losses. He lost to Gustafsson. I don't care what anybody said, and he lost to Dominic
No,
Reyes.
yeah, I think he lost to
And
Reyes 1,000%.
and
Why y'all hating?
then it
I'm
was
not
left to
hating.
it was left to the cards, and that's fine, whatever. But I just don't feel like I don't know when you have issues drug testing wise. I mean, you got to throw it in there, in my opinion. Like it's kind of like
Why?
Tom.
Because he like doing cocaine? Why are
No,
you
I
hating on him?
just yeah. Well, John Jones is my favorite fighter of all time, I try to be subjective as much as I can.
Yeah,
Oh, you don't have to.
But
You don't have to. He
but
so you
I
don't
will
because
have
it's
also
to.
say
because
this, man. You brought up Connor and Floyd.
yeah.
I was watching a video 2 days ago where Poirier was talking about how like he's as he gets older, he's grown to appreciate Connor, even though he hates him. He appreciates him because Connor promotes his fights the way he does. He is the way he is. Like Poirier was talking about how he had been in all these fights. He had fought for the belt. He was interim champ, and until he fought Connor, nobody gave a fuck about him.
Yeah.
until he knocked Connor out,
Yeah.
and talked about how career changing that was. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, that's kind of crazy because Connor is so polarizing of a person that like you can fight all these fights, but until you fight Connor, like nobody really like there was a period of time nobody really gave
Connor
a fuck about you.
Connor is, if you just look at the history of Connor is Muhammad Ali. A lot of
Yeah,
people say Muhammad Ali is the greatest, and some people are like, "How do you?" No, Tyson would have ate him up, or man, look at Floyd, or look at Terrence Crawford, and it's like, yes, but the reason people call Ali the greatest is because he was a damn good fighter. He had runs, and because he sold his fight. Before,
Hmm.
people were just, okay, we're signing the contract. And Ali
yeah,
came out and started talking that shit. Now, there were definitely MMA fighters that tried to do it before Connor. Like the
Hmm.
Diaz's, but it's fuck you, motherfucker. Like that was kind of it. He was
bro.
talking just cash money, like cutting promos, and
Yeah,
that people gravitated. A lot of people, I remember, we may have talked about it like last week or something like that, but I remember people hating the Conor McGregor run at the beginning. People hated it because they're like, this loudmouth dude. He doesn't have the respect. He's not the GSP. He's not the Anderson Silva who shows all the respect in the world for their opponents. And I'm like, this is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Y'all just don't get it.
Yeah.
He's about to throw some middle
Yeah.
fingers like people did
Who's
before
the
him.
closest thing to him right now?
Who, to Connor?
Yeah.
There is none.
He said there's none.
They try to market people like they're the next Connor. They
Yeah.
always do. Patty was the next Connor. We
Yeah.
just watched him get dominated by Justin Gaethje, and it wasn't even close. They tried to do it with Sean. Marab ragdolled
Colby,
him twice.
Colby,
With Colby.
and now they're trying it with that other Irish dude, Ian Machado Gary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but he's a terrible talker, which
which
is
Ian is
makes
a
it
very
better.
good fighter too, but then you watch
Hmm.
him lose to Shavkat, and then you watch him lose, and he'll become a champion one of these days, I do think. But it's just not, it's different from Connor. He doesn't have that star power, and Connor had that star power well before he knocked out Jose Aldo. Like
Yeah.
they loved him. He was filling up arenas. He was cutting promos. Everybody loved him.
Yeah,
And when he starched Jose Aldo, it was just, here's your crown king. And
Hmm.
Ian Machado Gary, my fault, Ian Machado Gary. Nobody cares about him the same way they cared about Connor. But
No,
again, they're
I
trying to use it to
I
sell
think
fights.
I think though the difference like when people fall in love with fighters, I feel like it's because like Nate Diaz, people love him because he don't give a fuck about the win. And he just wants to go in there and bang. Like he just wants to go fight. And same thing I feel like with Connor in the beginning of Connor's career. Like he just wanted to go in there and fight.
yeah, the result always worked in his favor, and then I think the reason why Connor kind of obviously the Floyd fight, and then afterwards, it was the trouble that he was getting into, the polarization of him, everything that he did was doing, was alleged to do. We saw on film with him doing certain things, and so he took a lot of time off, and the game started to pass him by, man. I mean,
Yeah.
that's honestly the
It,
tragedy in the Connor career
he
was
is Connor is like legit rags to riches story. And he was on welfare
la 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 la.
and legit like just in that short amount of time. So like the thing that we see with like some of our favorite college football players of all time, where we're like, oh my God, this dude is amazing. He went on the run, he won the Heisman. Now we're about to watch this run, and it's like now he gets into the league and he makes so much money, and then you see that he gets pulled over for driving drunk, and you see that he got busted with a bunch of weed, and it's like why I would never do that. Like why would he do all of this? And it's like, bro, he got so much money so
Yeah,
fast. He was
you
not
probably
mature
would
enough to,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
he just he has access to everything now. There's
Hmm.
nothing out of his grasp, and I'm not trying to absolve anything that Connor did because he was a bad piece of shit, but
Yeah,
it's it's like
that's what
it's the
happens,
same thing
man.
with it's the same yeah, it's the same thing with John. Like as a person and as a human, I think John Jones is a piece of shit. But as a fighter, I'm like, bro,
It's a bad motherfucker.
there's still nothing in this world, even with the aura that Khabib had, and all, there's nothing that would scare me more as a grown ass man than getting taken down by John and seeing him already throwing the elbow at me. Like, nah, I'm cool. Because
And
Bro,
he's psychotic,
yeah,
bro.
John
He's
yeah,
Jones
a
is another,
psycho.
not from terms of like coming up, but like he's kind of another rags to riches because like I was watching some shit about him and his like childhood and stuff, and like he was a terrible wrestler as a kid, and he was tiny, and his brothers were fucking huge, and he kind of had to just like learn how to
survive.
be dominant. Yeah, like and when you come up like that, you have a different kind of hunger for success and for like I don't know, I guess your safety,
Yeah,
protecting
Oba,
well, and
yourself.
crazy,
his
but
level
Oba,
of competing, yeah,
yes. And so Oba Femi, he was on a podcast, Stephanie McMahon's podcast, and they mentioned something about like what makes you a great athlete a lot of the times aren't always the best things or qualities about you, but that's why you see some of the all-time greats do or have their worst moments is because what makes them that isn't always the best traits or personalities that we
Yeah.
want. And I agree with it because, like I said, you like you mentioned, John Jones used to get his ass beat by his big brothers. I mean, he gets into the UFC, he finds his own lane, and then
Yeah.
he dominates it at the highest level and becomes the baby brother who was a forgotten piece to the best UFC fighter of all time or one of the best of all times. And then he got a bunch of money because the UFC started taking off at the time. And people hate it because he wasn't GSP, he wasn't Anderson, he wasn't those guys. He ran into the trouble. But it's like
Man.
the trouble's gonna come because he's immature. He was what, 24?
yeah. I
It's
Yeah.
think
just a
to
lot.
Fuck
highlight the
GSP.
Mike
point that
Tyson,
you,
bro, Mike Tyson.
yeah, to highlight the points that you're talking about athletes, Marlon. It's like when you don't have that thing that drives you anymore, you've already reached the mountaintop. Then you have no hunger left, so now you're just coasting. I think that's why Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. I think that's why John Jones got into all that trouble. Same thing with Connor. Same thing with any athlete that kind of falls from grace. You've reached that pinnacle of financial success and professional success, and then now you don't have anything. You have to you now it's your personal gain of
Yes.
maintaining that, and you have to make that decision to go left or right. And when you go left, usually if you go left, that means you're like, fuck it, man, I'm balling, I'm in the league, I got money, Henry Ruggs, and shit like that happens.
Yes, 100%. And what my last take before we can part is on it would be something like I don't want to minimize what guys like Floyd or what guys like Khabib did and how them being perfect is phenomenal. I think more or less what I'm saying is like I could see a world where John was, but I like for Connor, I think there's a world that Connor, if he stays sharp, if he doesn't make those bad decisions, I think he could have.
Yeah,
Just like I felt like
for sure.
Tyson, if he would have stayed mentally focused and wasn't just like, fuck, there ain't nothing else, and I'm the baddest motherfucker alive, in which at that point
Like
you are, but there's always
what we
somebody trying to
have
be better.
what we have an opportunity to see with Ilya.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, he is
Ilya
on
Tum
that,
Tum
brother.
Toria.
Brother, if the fight the thing that I'm paying attention because we talked about Poetan, if Ilias stays on the trajectory he's on, and then he goes up to welterweight, and say he were to starch the fuck out of Islam,
Four
brother,
division champ.
brother,
He's going, yeah.
I'm I don't know, I'll cry. I'll applaud Dana White because the plot it was great. WWE take notes.
I will say this when I think of all-time greats, like don't get me wrong, if Khabib gained weight and got up to light heavy and fought John Jones, I think John Jones would starch the shit out of Khabib because I think his striking is so much more like advanced. And I feel the same way about Poetan. Like if Poetan ever got a chance with John Jones, I think John Jones would starch the shit out of him. The only reason why I just don't put him up there is because of his issues off the or outside the octagon, his drug testing issues. But from a pure fighting standpoint, yeah, nobody, not in my like nobody touches John Jones. I mean,
I feel that. The man just loved cocaine. But fellas, let's go ahead and wrap up. What do y'all want to leave the people with?
I'll go.
Oh, okay.
Um, just wanted to one more time say rest in peace to the goat. Um, it's kind of fun taking a walk down memory lane with the Chuck Norris facts and that conversation. So I'll leave it with this. Anybody that listens, man, throw in your favorite Chuck Norris facts in the comments. Maybe we can do another like a 5 minute piece where we're more prepared for the Chuck Norris facts on next week's pod. We can talk about ones that were put in the comments.
I'll say this: UFC, count your days, brother. I'm getting sick of these stinkers that we call fight nights. I'm not happy with the product. You started off on a high note with two, numbered events back to back, but these fight nights they got to get better, man. We got to do more. And I agree with Cameron. I mean, drop some Chuck Norris facts in the comments. Keep watching us. We're just on the run now, man. It's prime time, baby. Let's keep it going.
I'll leave the people with two things. First, Isaiah, don't let the Brendan Schaub algorithm get you, brother. The product and fight nights have always been for no names that people don't really know that look like this until they're ready to go to the big numbered cards. The numbered cards are not, they're not doing their thing as of now, but there's a reason because you're going to make the summer that much bigger with the White House card as well as International Fight Week and then the back end of the schedule. Not everything is ever going to be perfect. No sport has the perfect schedule. Brendan Schaub needs to chill out. The last thing I'll leave it with is happy 30th birthday to my wife. She getting old.
Yeah, shout out.
Getting old. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week. We out.